One of the things that we have to implement in this country and fund is country of origin labeling. I think it's critically important for our people that are in production agriculture, our ranchers in particular. I think that goes a step in towards making sure our trading partners know that we're serious about BSE. The other issue is that I think our departments in our government, our bureaucracy, goes back to the first question asked, needs to work with our businesses to help facilitate them to do trade. I've got an example of a packer in Nebraska, not one of the great big ones, fairly small packer, large by Montana standards, but small by the global standards, that had an agreement with Japan and couldn't get the Department of Agriculture to get off the dime. That shouldn't be the role of government. The government should be there to facilitate business with our trading partners, because it helps us all in the end.
Now we'll change the pace just a little bit and give each candidate an opportunity to ask a question of his opponent. Senator Burns, do you have a question for Senator Tester?
Well, what's been in the papers the last couple of days is very interesting with the new developments in the Bull Mountain coal and the possibilities of a gasification plant up there or mine mount power generation. I find it odd that that Mr. Tester is a great proponent of doing those kind of things in Montana, but he voted against that very project back in 2001. He's got a 92% rating with the Northern Plains Resource Council. Now, he was one of seven, only 7 senators to vote against that. John, I would like to know your rationale on that.
Well, first of all, Senator Burns, I didn't vote against the coal to gas plant in the Bull Mountain mine in 2001. You need to get your staff to do better work on finding out the facts. What I did vote against was the transfer of that mine to another party because the previous party didn't live up to DEQ regulations. I think that for the legislature to step in when people aren't following the rules and say, hold it, we're going to overlook the rules this time, is the wrong position. I think people need to follow the rules, particularly when it comes to reclamation. I know how very strong and very powerful good water is to this state, and we absolutely need to have clean water, so reclamation is critically important. Now, the Bull Mountain mine I support, the coal to gas I support. I support it strongly because it's the best technology, and it'll put more energy on the marketplace, and it'll do it the right way.
Well, there you go. Let's go back. None of those that you mentioned was a part of what you opposed, what you voted for. So that's just a matter of fact. So, but that 92% rating, I would be cautious of.
Senator Burns, I'll just tell you that when it comes to reclamation, I don't want it to be done on the taxpayer's dime. It should be done on the companies that create the problems' dime. And I know that you have a different perspective on that because that's just the way you are. If they give you the money, you're willing to overlook some of this stuff. But the fact is that the coal to gas project that Governor Schweitzer's put forth is a good project. It's a good project for eastern Montana. It's absolutely a good project for the Roundup area. And it's something we need to move forward on, but it needs to be done right. And that's the bottom line. We've got far too many environmental disasters around this country that taxpayers are going to be paying for, and that's just not right.
And now a question from Senator Tester to Senator Burns.
Thank you, Steve. Senator Burns, you're currently running ads saying you can't hide who your friends are. We all know about your relationship with convicted felon Jack Abramoff and how you're under criminal investigation for trading votes for money. 2 of your former chiefs of staff are under criminal investigation. More recently, your top fundraiser, Pat Davison from right here in Billings, was charged with security frauds. Senator Burns, how is it that all of your friends are under investigation, and when will you start being accountable for the actions of your friends?
John, you dribbled this thing out for the last 18 months. Every time I turn around, you got it dribbling out. And there's nothing there. Nothing there.
Senator Tester, please hold your applause. Please hold your applause. Senator Tester.
I think it's important if there's nothing there, why did you spend $27,000 last month for your criminal defense attorney? Why have you spent $100,000? Why have you spent
Will you
$100,000?
please hold your applause?
Excuse me. No, please
Thank
don't.
you.
Why have you spent $100,000 since this campaign has begun to cover your rear end on this issue?
Senator Burns, a final comment?
Get it?
Do you have another comment, or we'll go on to another question?
When we found out about Abramoff, we hired an attorney to go through our books and to make sure that we done everything right. Period. That's what you want to do. You want to get an outside counsel to look at your operation and to make sure that we've done everything right. And if we haven't, then let's own up to it, and then let's fix it. That's what the money was for. And if you didn't do that under those circumstances, then I would feel sorry for your operation. I don't think I'd go to work for it.
And now a question from Mike Stark to Senator Burns.
American Indians in this country have been waiting for a long, long time for some kind of resolution over trust accounts that were set up by the federal government to distribute royalties from oil and gas, logging, and other development on Indian land. By one estimate, the amount owed is around $100 billion. Though this case has been tied up in court for years, Congress has periodically talked about a settlement, but nothing solid has come through. In your mind, what are the American Indians owed in this case, and what will your role be in making sure they get paid?
We're that's in the Cobell case. We're doing our negotiations right now. The Cobell case was brought many years ago, and in fact, it held every Secretary of the Interior was held in contempt, from Babbitt clear back and forward. So we are almost to the settlement on fractionated lands, and also on the trust fund. And the folks of Cobell and that consortium, we are now meeting with the Department of Interior. The Department of Interior now has talked to OMB, and we are in the process of finding the figure for settlement. As you know, Judge Lambert was relieved of his duties with regard to this lawsuit.
Mike, this once again reverts back to the very first question you asked in this debate. It talks about the bureaucracy and how they've fouled things up. They've mismanaged this situation for many, many decades. Lost papers, lost documents, and it really is time to settle this lawsuit. It's not going to get any better with time. It does deal with fractionated ownership of land, of Native American lands, started in the 1800s. And we really need to have meaningful communication with the tribes from the federal level to tribal governments and get this thing solved. I think that the tribes want to get it solved. In fact, I know they do. I think it's time for us to step up to the plate. It's been going on for far too long. It's not getting any better. And have meaningful communication and solve this problem.
Senator Burns, a final comment on that topic?
Well, I gave you the situation on it and where we are. All parties are at the table. Now the Interior Department, let's go to the OMB, said, okay, we need this much money and for settlement. And that's in the process. I look for it to be settled in the next 6 months or so. I really do.
Thank you. Now a question from Jackie Yamanaka for Senator Tester.